skirt all niggas. Skirt up all niggas. Skirt down, you acting like me.
This episode is brought to you by Veronica Polite Photography. Please visit her website, imtoopolite.com, to book your next photo shoot session. She specializes in, but is not limited to, birthdays, business and branding, creative shoots, and families. That's imtoopolite.com, imtoopolite.com. This episode is sponsored by the Closet Corner Boutique, where they have all of your latest fashion trends available for you to shop online. ClosetCorner.com, and that's closet and corner with a K. KLOSETKORNER.com. Please visit online and shop all your latest fashion trends and support our Closet Corner cuties.
Welcome back. So the process now of actually getting the bariatric surgery is what we're going to discuss, because the process is something, that a lot of you may have questions on who are considering it. So I would just basically walk you through my process and let you know, basically what it was for me and how it went. Now, if you watch my previous video, I did say that, it's one of those things where it's either like a 3 month or 6 month. From my understanding, I don't know, it could be more. I don't know for it to be longer than a 6 month process, but it could be like a 3 month process or it could be 6 month process. The process that I was going to was a 3 month process. So the doctors, basically said it would be 3 months for, before I could even have a set. The doctor said it would be 3 months the doctor said that it would be a 3 month process before I could even get like a set surgery date. Because, basically for my insurance to cover it, they needed me to do 3 dietitian visits, and 3 doctor visits. And I had to do the dietitian visits, like once a month pretty much. So when I did go, it was like it was in April. Maybe like 2 weeks before April ended, because I remember we were in Cancun. Yes, so it was like 2 weeks before April ended for me. Hold on. So it was like 2 weeks before April ended. And when we came back from Cancun, I remember like the next day I had a doctor's visit with them. And I went, that was the initial appointment of me meeting them and basically, learning what it was. And, basically they went over the process and just general information to see if I even needed to go forth. And of course they agreed that I did need to go forth with it. At that moment, he had recommended that I get the gastric bypass. He said because of the GERD, he recommends that I get the gastric bypass. He also recommended that I get the gastric bypass because it's more of a permanent option versus a possibility, you don't lose anything. Like my aunt said, she didn't really lose anything like what she had hoped or what she expected. So he was one of those things like, with the health issues you have, you're going to want to keep this weight off permanently. And he felt that the gastric bypass is the method that would do that for me. Not going to lie, I just agreed because I didn't know much. He did tell me, though, that with doing the gastric bypass, I was expected to lose minimum of like 100 pounds. So that did have me pretty alarmed because I'm like, I don't want to lose that much, but it's like, do you argue with the doctor who's the expert, at what he's telling you? So, I kind of just went along with it at that moment. I'm like, okay, if you say I need the gastric bypass, then I'll do the gastric bypass. So at that point, I'm pretty much set for the gastric bypass. So I did that, this, that, and third. I left and everything of that nature, immediately called my aunt. She's like, telling me, no, you're not doing no gastric bypass. No, do I need to call them? Do I need to change your doctor? And I'm like, nah, you don't need to change it. She was like, nah, you don't need to change. I'm like, nah, you don't need to change it. Like, you just tell me what, because I don't. And she was like, no, you are going to be too small. And I remember him saying, you might have some saggy skin, you might start looking a little skeletal, he was like, but, in time it will all pass, but I really recommend the gastric bypass for you, because I believe what he said was the acid reflux, like the gas pains for me were going to be like extreme due to the acid reflux. It was going to be like it could be like a more complication than it already is going to be prepared to be if I did the gastric sleeve. So, and me, I'm not knowing much. So I'm just like, yeah, okay. So she's like, no, you're going to get the gastric sleeve. You're going to lose well enough weight with the gastric sleeve. You're going to be okay. And she was just like, no, you're not doing that. So they have an app. That's something else that I liked about them. They have an app. So you write in the app and they will message you right away. Like you write in the app and one of the doctors will message you right away. Basically inform you of whatever you need and this, that, and the third. So they're very like, the doctors itself, it was a very like smooth process, very, very nice facility, very nice people, very nice. I liked it, everybody. Nobody gave me an issue. Everybody was nice. Everybody was warm. Everybody was calm. It was just like it was a breeze. I don't know. It was nice. It was smooth though. So I did that first initial visit. Then, they scheduled me for the following week, which I believe, like I said, was like the last week of April. And they got me in to do a dietitian thing because, like I said, you had to have an appointment once a month for 3 months. You couldn't 1 month I do 2. No, you couldn't do it like that. So for insurance purposes, I believe you had to do it in that fashion. So they got me in like the following week with a dietitian appointment. That's when we did the metabolic rate, things of that nature. She talked about my eating habits now and going forward, what my eating habits would need to be, things of that nature, making sure like I was going to be comfortable with what was going to be, needed of me after surgery, as well as working on some plans before surgery. So she did want me to try to lose some weight on my own just to see, but it wasn't a recommendation. Like it wasn't a necessity for me. With some doctors, they make you lose a certain amount of pounds, I guess, just to see if you can. I don't know what that is. But it wasn't one of those things for me. So I did not have to lose weight, but she did say that, hey, let's just see what we can get, from this. So not gonna lie, I did not really put forth much effort in the weight loss journey because, like I said, I had already been there, done that. And this is why we're here now. Not to mention, I didn't really want to lose so much weight, because I kind of wanted to be more up in weight. So that way, when the weight did start falling off, the more pounds that shed, basically I won't be so small, basically. Like, I'm thinking in my mind, like, you might need to gain a little bit because, I don't want to be so small when all of this weight fall off. I don't know how much is going to fall off, but I know I don't want a lot to be falling off. And I know at some points they say you can't control it. So, I kind of didn't really take the weight loss seriously. I did, however, lose weight, but we'll get to that. But I did, however, lose weight. It had nothing to do with me changing my eating habits or anything, because at this point, I wasn't really thinking about it that way. At this point, I'm not going to lie. My thoughts was more so, let me just get out all the things I'm not going to be eating anymore. Let me kind of try to taste stuff that I know I'm probably not going to, be indulging in after I have this surgery. Because like they say, it's going to be a mental change. You are going to have to change stuff about yourself, or you're going to be right back in that same situation. So that was kind of my mindset on it. Probably worsened my condition because for whatever reason, during this process, my diabetic hunger pains and urination got worse. That was probably my fault from what I chose to put in my body. But, whatever. We'll get to all that. I get sidetracked quick. You guys will learn. I talk a lot. I get all over the place. I get sidetracked quick. So, I'll try my best to stay on topic and chop it up and put it all together if I go everywhere for you guys. But if I do, just stay with me. I'll form my point quick. I mean, eventually. So yeah. So now at this point, basically I'm going through my 3-month process. So basically it requires the dietitian visits once a month. I'm doing that. I'm also, every time I go to the dietitian, I do see the doctor. They're basically, having me, just follow up with them, just conversations, just slightly asking if anything changed, things of that nature, any differences or any concerns, any questions, things of that nature. It was quick visits. It wasn't long visits. They did have me like do labs. So 1 month they'll have me go do labs for this, or have me go do that, and we'll come back, talk about the results and things of that nature. Like I said before, the doctor initially when I went, he did tell me that I was at a very low risk for any concerns or any risks from the surgery. So they basically wanted to basically confirm that. So they did go do tests. I did have to do labs, lab work, basically testing your levels and bloods and things of that nature. I did have to do an EKG. Basically, I think that tests your heart to make sure you're able to undergo anesthesia. I did have to do an endoscopy. I didn't have to do any X-rays or things of that nature. So I didn't have to do anything like that. Now, ironically, as I was going through the process with this, I was also going through the process still with my pulmonologist. The pulmonologist is the one who did diagnose me with everything that I was dealing with, but they were still having me go do ongoing tests as well. Unbeknownst to me, those tests that I was doing with the cardiologist were in line with the same things that I needed for the actual surgery. I did have a delay, but it was more so my fault. We'll get to that. So I had to do that. I did have to do an echo, and I did have to do like a stress test, but that was more so from the pulmonologist requiring me to do that for them, just to make sure, because I was having some, with my heart or whatever, the study came back with them with that. They wanted to make sure with the cardiologist that, nothing extreme, nothing was necessary to make sure to keep up with my daily living with that, pretty much. I don't know the words, so I'm just spurring out stuff, but you get the point. So I did make it to do my stress test. I did not make it to do my echo, and that is kind of what put my surgery date back. So like I said, you had a process, so we had to do all of that. So I got everything done, but what I did not get done was the echo. Not gonna lie, it was one night, I remember it. Kilo and them had us on live like till 5:00 in the morning, and I had to be to the cardiologist to do my echo that morning at 10, and I did not wake up. I missed my alarm. I probably snoozed it. But either way it go, I missed the echo test, but me not taking it as serious as I should have, because that definitely wasn't a reason to miss that or to be staying up late. Come on now. But I did do it, it happens. So I did miss my echo. So when I first went to go get my endoscopy done, because everything at this point, 3-month process, I got all my labs done that I needed, pretty much was the labs, the EKG, and the next thing was going to be the endoscopy. They do a pulmonologist thing for you if you're not already being seen by one. They do set you up to get that done, to test for the sleep apnea. But since I had already was one step ahead with that, I didn't have to, do anything with that. I just pretty much had to send over my paperwork, that showed my information and things of that nature. So I did I had to do the endoscopy. I went for the procedure. For whatever reasons, I might have missed the phone call. I don't know. Either way, I did not talk to them the night before. So because I didn't talk to them, they did not tell me that I would be going on anesthesia for the endoscopy. And I did not know that I was not supposed to eat. Actually, I take that back. They did tell me that I would undergo anesthesia. But like I said, I've had lipo 3 times. And I've done 2 different forms of anesthesia. One was local, one was general. I did local the first 2 times, and with local I could eat, small stuff, not nothing too, but I could eat, and I could drink. So I was like, under the pressure. I'm like, it's an endoscopy. They said it takes 30 minutes. They 9 times out of 10 gonna be putting me on the local, I assume. So I get there, I had to be there early, this, that, and the third, get there, and nope, not gonna do it. I did tell her and luckily I did know. But I did tell her because at that point they had set my surgery date like 2 weeks out, and when you do your 2-week pre-op, they start you on this diet. So they start you on the liquid diet. You do 2 protein shakes a day, 1 4-ounce meal. So at that point, I started that diet. I woke up and I got to it. I was doing my protein. So I did drink a protein shake that morning, and that's when I learned that, no, you couldn't do it. So I did tell her, thank God I did, because she was like, because I said, hey, since I am going to be doing the anesthesia, I didn't get a phone call letting me know my do's and don'ts, but I did have a protein shake this morning. She was like, nope, it has milk in it, right? And I'm like, no. I mean, yeah. So she was like, nope, we won't be able to do you today because milk is like a big no-no on the list. Something about my heart, my lungs can get clogged up and I could die. So that's all I need to hear. Nope, we're going to reschedule. Rescheduled got me another day. I think it was like a week or 2 out at this point. So of course my surgery date did have to get pushed back. So we pushed it back. I don't even remember what we pushed it back to, but we did have to push it back. Because I think the next endoscopy appointment was kind of pretty much right there with that. So I go to there to get the endoscopy. Now, the problem is I guess they did like a checklist. And from the checklist, it pretty much was one of those things where, because the first endoscopy appointment was actually with Advent, so it was all in one. So I guess it wasn't a concern for them, for me to get the echo done. The second person they set me up with was with an outside group. I guess that they partner with from time to time. So they had this checklist that I had to do to see, what conditions I actually go through or whatever the case may be. So whatever I put on that checklist, they were like, no, this is alarming. You have something. I don't even remember what it was, but basically they needed the echo results before they would perform the endoscopy on me. Another setback. So from there, now I can't do the procedure. Now we got to start it all over again. So this time around, they did not set me with, they didn't put me with a date. Because like I said, it's a 3-month process. So my process started April, May, and June. July, they had set me for the surgery. So now at this point, the second time around, I believe I was set back because it was full. So I believe I was set back to August 1st. So now when I got to go again, now I'm set back to nothing at this point. I remember they didn't put me at anything because I think by now we're both like, okay, wait, let's just make sure you can even get in before we even, do another one. But she had told me now that they had to remove me from the August 1st date because there were no endoscopy appointments available. Now that they had to remove me from the August 1st date, I was going to be pushed back to September. Didn't have an exact date, but they said I was going to basically be like September. She did say, though, that the doctor was going on vacation, so it was going to be like the end of September, maybe mid, that she would have to see what they had. So now at this point, I'm just like aggravated because I'm like, okay, now this done drugged me along. And like I said before in my previous, if something drags, I pretty much start to, now I got all this time. Before it was like boom, 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 boom. Every month, we're here. I'm on track. Now I got all this free time. Now I'm kind of like, I'm back to second guessing it, back to feeling like, this, that, and the third. And I won't lie, I lost weight. How? I don't know. And I feel like it was because of the diabetes, because that is another one of the symptoms. You may gain or lose weight. But I started losing weight, and I'm just like, this isn't making sense. But to me, I'm like, well, shit, I'm losing weight. You know what I'm saying? Do I need it? You get what I'm saying? But like I said, it was kind of alarming too. I'm not going to lie, because it's like I am losing weight, but I'm not losing it fast. And I'm not I'm not losing it, I don't think, for the right reasons. So it was one of those things. At first, I'm like, well, shit, I'm already losing weight. You know what I'm saying? Because at first, when I started the initial procedure, I was 212. By the time I got to my pre-op appointment, I was 205. I was 205. So now it's like, at this point, do I need it? But, like I said, I wasn't losing it on purpose. And it probably wasn't healthy. 9 times out of 10, it was not healthy on why I was losing it. So yeah, I was, I did get a moment where I was like, I don't even need it. Then plus y'all got me going to all this run around, keep getting up for nothing, can't get the appointments done, even though it was my fault. But, I was kind of getting a little discouraged. I'm not going to lie again. But she ended up getting me an endoscopy date that was early in August. So, and like I say, I love them too because they work with you. They try to get it in. They, like, my coordinator, she did not play. She was hands-on. I could call at any moment, any concerns. She was trying to get me, and I think she sensed where I was at with it. So she was like working diligently to figure it out for me. And I appreciate her. Her name was Jasmine. If you ever get the Advent right there on Fletcher, that's Bruce B. Downs. Jasmine, she was a great coordinator. Appreciate you. So yeah. So she ended up getting me getting me an endoscopy appointment. Because I was able to go ahead and, that's what it was. I wasn't able to get my echo in time for the next endoscopy appointment. So by the time I was able to get the echo done, by the time I was able to get the echo done, the next endoscopy appointment was going to conflict with the earlier surgery date that they had. That's what it was. I'm getting sidetracked, but we're getting there. So that's what it was. So I finally did get my echo done. He cleared me for, basically being able to go through the endoscopy situation. Basically cleared me for surgery. I get to the final endoscopy. She was able to get me in one. They first had me out for a later date. Then something came up. And that's what I like about them, because even if they set you for something way out, if something pops up for them, they immediately call and say, hey, can you do this? And that was one of the situations. She called and she was like, hey, we got an endoscopy coming in on this day. Are you able to get in, to get it done? And I'm like, yeah, I could get that done. So I went, got the endoscopy, basically I was cleared for that. And then next thing I know, basically she was like, well, since you got cleared with the endoscopy, the next surgery date that I got for you is September 19th. But we were still like early August. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I wasn't really stressing it. We were mid-August, because I remember the endoscopy had to be after August 1st, which is why I wasn't able to make my August 1st date. So yeah, I remember mid-August, like probably 2 weeks in August. I think it was like the second week of August. That's when I got the endoscopy. So yeah, she got the results. It's then the third. So basically she said, okay, now at this point, the next one we have is September 19th. Is that a date for you? Are you able to do it? So I cleared my schedule and things of that nature. That was my sister's birthday, so I was like asking her, because I remember she mentioned something about going out of town and stuff like that. So I did ask her, on some stuff like, hey, this is what they're saying, this, that, and the third, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, so she pretty much told me that, it was okay, it was fine, if I did accept the September 19th surgery date, if I needed to. So yeah, I just looked it up. Exact date for the endoscopy was August the 11th, right? Because this is kind of what's going to matter. So got that. By Friday, I was cleared. Friday, I was told about my next surgery date, things of that nature. That was pretty much all I had to do at that point. I was pretty much set in stone. The next thing would be surgery. But because the surgeon was going out of town, he had vacation, and then he was already booked up prior to, that's what I had to look forward to. So I'm going along with life pretty much at this point. Not much of anything going on, not thinking of anything. And next thing I know, I get a phone call. So when I get this phone call, she pretty much tells me, it was like Monday. she calls and she's like, it was Monday or Tuesday, I don't remember. Might have been Tuesday. I don't know. Either way, I got the phone call. Because mind you, endoscopy was on the 11th that Thursday. So by like Monday or Tuesday, I get the phone call and she's like, hey, we just had, some dates clear up. The doctor, pretty much canceled his vacation. Would you like to come in for surgery at a sooner date? So I'm like, sure. What dates do you guys have? And she was like, well, the earliest we have is August 22nd, or we have August 24th. So I'm like, August 22nd. I look at my calendar and I'm like, she's like, yeah, I know that's next week. That's Monday. And I'm like, that's Monday. So she's like, yeah, I know it's pretty rushed, but if you can't make it, you can't make it. You just got to stick with what you got, and hopefully something else comes up sooner, if you can. So I'm just like, that is like a week or so away, and then like I have my daughter. That was one of the main concerns that I was trying to get it done in July, because I didn't want it to conflict with her going to school because she's a car rider, so I take her and pick her up every day. So I'm like, this is short notice. Let me make sure, my child's father can help me out because he's always on go. So it was like one of those things where it's like, let me make sure, I'm like, let me call you back. I say, I'm willing to take the date, but I just have to get my daughter situated and make sure, I get everything done that needs to get done. So, let me call you back on it. Can I do that? So she was like, yeah. So I call him and I'm just like, hey, because he was aware of the procedure. He was actually one of the ones that was actually, very encouraging for, he was basically like, you need to do this, you need to do this. I don't even understand, what are you even considering? What is there to consider? You need to do it, so he basically was one of the encouraging ones. So he was, all on board, and he already knew what it was, what it was about and what it was for. So he pretty much, he was like, yeah, if you need me to get her, you need me to get her pretty much. So he did it. He did agree to get her. I told him it could be like 2 to 4 weeks. That I might need her because they said the recovery time was 2 to 4 weeks. So, he agreed he would get her for, whatever time I needed. And, pretty much from there, I was like, okay, cool. Now I had to worry about my appointments because I did have photography appointments lined up. So it was like one of those things like, and I'm the type of person, I don't like to give refunds. So I did have to go see because I know some people do pay in full advance. And lo and behold, on the 26th, which was like that Friday after my surgery, I had 2 people pay in full. And I'm just like, and pretty much it was like a total of like a little bit over $700 that I would be having to refund, for this procedure. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to give nobody I don't want to give back no $700 if I don't got to, So I called my aunt because by this time she has had her surgery. So I asked her, how she, what is she thinking about, will I be able to do it by that Friday? How would I be feeling like at least that many days in? And she pretty much, excuse me. She pretty much informed me that she thinks I'll be able to do the photo shoot, but the event, she was like, nah, you're probably not gonna be able to make that. So I'm like, it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, is it worth refunding? Because I can stomach because I think the event they had paid me like $300. So it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I can stomach giving a $300 refund, and still, hopefully being able to manage my money, situation, my $400 shoot. So, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take that risk. Because not only that, like my daughter's birthday is in October, she kind of wanted to go out of town, for her birthday. So I'm thinking of that kind of situation where I want to be healthy, enough if to do that with her, and to celebrate things of that nature. I kind of want to be almost healed, if not already over it at that point. So, I went ahead and I accepted it. So it was a go. I did have to refund my client. Apologize if you're watching this. But this is why I had to refund you. So I did refund them their money. And I hated it was so last minute, but but yeah, so I had to refund them. And at this point now I'm preparing for surgery. So that Wednesday is when they set me in to come in, basically and do my pre-op. So I go in, I do pre-op. I did have to take a COVID test. That was horrible. I did have to get a shot, in my, no. I didn't get the shot there. But she did have to, she stuck me for something. I don't remember. She did stick me though. I don't remember why she stick me. Maybe she drew blood. She might have drawn blood. She stuck me for something. I don't remember, for whatever reason. I don't know. But I did have to get stuck with that needle for either blood or a shot. I think it was blood though. And I did have to get a COVID test, and she did whatever she did during the pre-op. That was that Wednesday. She told me by Friday, after 5, they would be giving me a phone call letting me know basically on Monday what time I would be scheduled to get to the hospital for surgery. She said that it happens as early as 5 a.m. So definitely be alarmed for that. And I'm like, damn, y'all don't make me come to this bitch 5 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, so basically I had to come 5 o'clock in the morning and get my surgery done. Because lo and behold, she did call. In the app, like I said, they have an app with them. It said that my surgery time was 7:30. So I'm like, okay, 7:30, that's more reasonable. Nope. She called and said I had to arrive at the hospital by 5:15 to get the surgery completed. So I had to arrive by 5:15. And pretty much that was my process of basically what it took to even get the surgery. Now with that surgery, there are certain requirements if you're going to have your insurance pay for it. Like one of the requirements were the dietitian visits. Your BMI has to be at a certain level. Because like I said, you have to even qualify for it. It's not something you could just up and say, oh, I want to get. So there's recommendation. There's requirements that you have to have. You have to meet certain standards in order for you to even qualify. So it ain't something, it's not something that you could just say, oh, I want it, I'm going to get it, insurance going to pay for it. No, you actually have to have the underlying issues to qualify for it. Because I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you didn't need that, this, that, and the third. But it's like, yes, I did, because if I didn't, I wouldn't qualify for it. You get what I'm saying? One of those type of situations. So the BMI was one, which I believe was the lowest, was 35, which is what I had. Then I had all those health issues and things of that nature. So that was another process, pretty much. So yeah, basically that was my process on actually even, the journey to getting to the surgery. And yeah, so that was my process, and even, basically getting to the point of surgery. Not gonna lie, I was really nervous and stuff of that nature around this time, because it was like it was sprung on me, and then I'm like, whoa, this really about to happen. You get what I'm saying? I thought I had a little more time. I did not have to do the pre-op diet, because remember I told you 2 weeks prior to, they make you do the pre-op diet. I did not have to do the pre-op diet. They do want you to do it because it does shrink your liver. So from the time they did inform me that I would be getting surgery earlier, they did recommend I do try to stick to it or whatever the case may be. And I did, because they said they need your liver to shrink. They don't want your liver to be expanded, because it makes it harder for them to get to where they need to get to. So they do recommend the pre-op diet, small portions as much as possible, because, they basically want your liver to shrink prior to surgery. So that is the story of the process on, basically getting to surgery date. The next video will be discussing my actual surgery my actual surgery process. So stay tuned. Like, comment, and subscribe and share. For more updates and, basically, like I said, spread awareness. I do want to spread awareness with this situation because I think it's important. So yeah, the next video will be an update on, what the surgery process was like for me. And I did record some footage while in the hospital and things of that nature. So yeah, stay tuned and hope you guys are enjoying the process so far, and see you again.
Give me a paper towel, give me another value, give me another hour or two. I'll war with you. Why you bother me when you know you don't want me? Why you bother me when you know you got a woman? Why you hit me when you know better? Know you know better, know you prove better than you do. Just call me looking for you, I'll be looking for you. Got me looking forward to weekend. Sure, baby, sure, baby, sure, baby. We do